Welcome back. Cannot believe we're here already. Week 2, training video 2 in our Success in 6 group coaching program. Week 2 is always an interesting one because week 1, much like what we learned last week, when it comes to goal setting and the natural journey that we go through when we start something new, you tend to leave really, really excited. And this is going to be amazing. This is going to be so different. I'm going to learn loads. And week 2 tends to be where you realize that there's actually quite a lot of work involved. So we've gone from uninformed optimism to informed pessimism quite quickly. And I'm not going to lie to you, there is quite a lot of work involved, and today is absolutely no different as we find out more about your ideal client, and because this is absolutely essential. Let's look at the purpose of today's training, and it's to know exactly who wants what you offer that you can easily reach and you will enjoy working with, and how you will inspire them to take action. So we looked at recent trainings about what your transformation is, and the easy way to find your ideal client is basically narrow down the people who want what you offer the most, that you can afford to reach through your marketing, that you'll enjoy working with. And it really is as simple as that. I don't want to add much more onto that. So once you determine who your ideal client is, today's training is going to talk you through the kind of information that you need to obtain and how you're going to use that information, which I think is probably the most important thing. So what will we cover today? So we'll cover what is an ideal client. And I think it's important to consider that when it comes to business coaches throughout the world, there's a lot of talking on ideal clients, finding ideal clients, knowing a lot about them and promoting to them. And essentially, it's probably the only thing in business that all business coaches agree on. It really, really is. Everyone else has got different approach, they sell different things, but everyone agrees that you have to have an ideal client. So we'll look at what is an ideal client? Why is it essential that you know this person inside out? And actually the mistakes people make. And the most common mistake is that people make it up, because they don't have the confidence in where they're going to use this information. So they tend to pluck information from the sky, fill in an ideal client checklist and park it. Yeah, that's exactly what people do. Or they say, I don't need to know this. So we're just going to mine your brain, get all of that information out onto a piece of paper, and we're going to add to it. And we're going to look at how can I use this information effectively, because what's the point in having all this information if we cannot use it? We want to use it, and we want to use it quickly. Then we're going to look at how to create an ideal client profile. So how can we get all of this information, who we're going to speak to going forward? Before we move on to the 10 fundamentals of human behavior. Now, we already have some really solid Facebook training on this, so we're just going to move past it really quickly. And then what impacts how our ideal clients view what we offer. And that's really important because everyone views different things in different ways, and it really depends on their knowledge of what you offer. So I'm going to talk you through some options there to help you get clear on this. So who is my ideal client and why do I love them? Well, when I first started out in business, especially coaching, my ideal client was people who suffered with overwhelm and people who were overwhelmed. And basically, I realized quite quickly that that was a load of shit. And A, I didn't want to work with these people. B, I didn't know how to find them. And C, I didn't want to work with these people. Did I mention that? And then I started to realize that actually sales and business coaching was actually where people wanted the most help. There was such a massive drive in people starting new business, either out of choice or out of necessity, and they really needed some guidance because they'd started a business on what they were really passionate about, what they were experts about, and the only way that they could make a change in the world was to learn more about business. And the reason that I love them is because they inspire me absolutely every single day, and because they're making a change in the world, and what more can you ask for? That's you guys, by the way. So what is an ideal client? And again, it's the person that genuinely wants the transformations that you offer. You can afford to reach them through your marketing. So for example, if it's a face-to-face product, we're not going to market someone in a different city. It's going to be someone, for the most part, in the same city. Mind you, I'm sure you're so amazing they'll travel and that you'll enjoy working with. You don't want to work with drainers. Even if they've got loads of money, you don't want to work with someone that's going to suck the energy out of you, that makes you want to, just really give up work. So you want to work with people that are, good to work with, good fun. What is not an ideal client? Despite the poor advice that's given out there, it's not the person that you think wants or needs what you offer, but you've never spoken to them. So lots of people say when you're starting out with business, the first question that you get asked is, who's your ideal client? That's the first question that you get asked. Who is your ideal client? And it's like, well, hang on a minute. How can I decide who my ideal client is if I don't know what I can offer them first? You always need to know what you can offer them first. And that's what we looked at last week. What most people say is, oh, decide on your ideal client and then decide what you're going to offer them. No, that's not how it works. You have to be crystal clear on what you offer before you choose your ideal client. And also, you have to speak to them. Most of what we do today involves around you having genuine conversations with these people so that you get to know them. Because actually, if you want people to buy from you, and if you want people to buy from you quite quickly, you have to be able to push their buttons. You have to be able to say the right thing at the right time, in the right way, so that they want to buy from you. And the only way that you can do that is if you understand them. And I see so many people who think that their ideal client can and cannot afford what they offer, and they make that decision for them. So if we were going to use the example last week of those horrible benefits shows where people don't have any money for, in some cases, don't have any money for their bills or for all these things, but they still have cigarettes. Do you think the cigarette company sits there and says, well, I don't think they can afford what I'm offering, so I'm not going to market to them? No. Do you think the people in the cash converters do that? No. Now, obviously, we're an authentic, ethical business, so we're not going to market in that way, but it's not for you to decide what people can afford. People can afford what they see the value in. So your job is to determine what value you offer and to make sure that they see the value in it as well. It's not for you to say, oh, but they're only starting out in business, they can't afford me. It's not for you to say, oh, but they've got 3 kids, so maybe they can't afford my program. It's not for you to say, oh, but they only work part-time. No, your job is to get to know them really well, really, really know how to push their buttons, and really, really, really demonstrate the results and make sure that you get them as well. Does that make sense? Good. Let's move on. So why is it essential that we know this person inside out? Well, we have to know this person inside out because in today's world where everything's moving so quickly, we're constantly switched on, it's constantly fast moving, it's constantly on the go. Your client does not have time for broad information or results. So they don't want anything that's broad, they want something that's very specific. And in order for you to provide specific information and specific results, you have to know exactly what they want. Their world is so busy. Everyone's world is busy now. And everyone's world is busy whether they're a working mom, a working dad, a stay-at-home parent, a single person. Oh my God, my life was never busier than when I was single. Someone who's recently split up with a partner. Any of these people, they live in a really, really busy world right now. I checked my Gmail account today. I have 30,000 emails in there. 30,000 emails. So if you show up in my email account and you want me to open your email, you better know exactly what it is that I'm looking for. If you're going to connect with your clients in an authentic way, it involves closeness. You know what's going on inside their head. You know what their deepest fears are. And essentially, people want to feel special. And people only feel special by you understanding them. So, for example, if you were trying to help someone get fit after, if you were trying to help me get fit and get my shape back after the pregnancy, you have to appeal to me by making me feel special. You cannot just post a blog or have a course saying, get fit after pregnancy. No, that's not going to work. Maybe it's something like, do you want to fit back into your size 8 jeans in the next 3 months while still being able to take care of your family? You know, make me feel special. Make me feel that you totally understand where I'm coming from because I won't have any time to waste. And this applies for absolutely everything, from when I'm doing my food shopping to when I am buying courses. It's literally about I buy, everyone buys, you buy from people that understand you and that know what you want and that offer the right thing. And on the rare occasions where you buy from someone else, boy, do you let them know about it if you're not happy. And boy, do you let other people know about it if you're not happy as well. So we have 3 key steps to understanding your ideal clients, and all of which we're going to go through in today's training. So first of all, it's the demographics and the psychographics, and basically all of the little things. Now, this is probably what you've been asked to do before, if you've been asked to fill in this information, and you're not going to make it up. You're not going to guess. I'm going to show you where to get this information, but essentially it's going to be accurate, because that's what we need. I don't want you plucking things out of the sky. I need you to understand this because it's so fundamental to your business. And remember, you've already decided on your ideal client because you know what you offer and you know who wants what you offer. Then we're going to move on to talk about the 10 fundamentals of human behavior, because that's the second step in understanding your ideal clients. And then the third step is to understand market sophistication. So it's about understanding the person, their behaviors, and where your product or service is at in their awareness, so you know how to promote it. And I'm going to give you some examples there. So let's look at number 1, and it's demographic and psychographics. So basically it's looking at all of the information, such as their age, location, where they shop, their job status, so you can create targeted marketing. So some ways that you'll use this information, it might be through Facebook adverts, and it might be to market them effectively. So you're not just plucking this information from the sky so that you can guess it. You'll use it at a later date so you can target them through Facebook. Now, in today's worksheet, I do have an ideal client profile that I'd like you to fill in, and I'd like you to fill in that information with accurate information. So the best way for you to do this is to work with an ideal client that you're working with quite a lot, or maybe someone that you've recently dealt with in the past. Other things that we want to know about your clients is their likes and dislikes, such as magazines, TV shows, music, what they do in their spare time. And why do you need this information? It's so you can connect with them. So, for example, everyone's talking about Love Island. Absolutely everyone I know is talking about Love Island, and it's one of those love or hate TV shows. But if you know that your ideal client likes Love Island, or if they hate Love Island, maybe you're going to do a blog entry around the topic of hating or loving Love Island and relate that back to your business. Maybe you're going to use the plot of the TV show to tell them a story about your business. Maybe if they read certain magazines, you can use similar headlines in their email marketing. And then we want to chat about their fears, their concerns, their desires even. And you want to use these to demonstrate that you completely understand them before offering them a solution to a problem. So, for example, if it's a case that you're helping someone to lose weight, and you have a product there and you want to help someone lose weight. So yeah, everyone knows it's great to lose weight. It's absolutely fantastic to lose weight. It's absolutely fantastic to feel more toned. But you want to speak to them and you want to find out, actually, how shit do they feel right now? Okay? How crap do they feel right now feeling overweight? What are their concerns if they don't lose this weight that they want to lose? And what are their desires? And then you can use that in your sales pages. You can use that in your email newsletters, in your Facebook, in any Facebook lives that you do. And then you're going to speak directly to that person. And we'll talk you through soon where you're going to find that information. But it's just about working out that I do want you to fill in your ideal client profile. And I want you to find out as much information as possible, and don't guess the information. I want you to talk to people. Unless, of course, your ideal client is an earlier version of you. You can pluck some of it from your own head, but the majority of it, I really, 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 really need you to speak to your customers. So what does all of this information mean? And I've got a few examples here. So let's say you find out that your ideal client reads New Magazine. What does that tell you about them, and how can you use that information? New Magazine probably says they want to keep on top of modern culture. They want to know what's going on in celebrities' lives. They probably do a lot of, mums under pressure, as you can see there, and mums. So maybe they resonate with working mums. Lots of weight loss examples in New. And it's kind of basically, what kind of headlines do they have there? Because magazines are the best place to get headlines. So if you're writing titles for your email newsletters and you have a list of magazines that your customer or your ideal client genuinely reads, all you have to do is ask them. You can actually use similar titles in your email newsletters to get open. Maybe you find out that your ideal client loves Cosmopolitan. And you can see there's a lot of headlines there on that, with Rihanna, the porn ultimatum. I like that. Do you see what they did there? Your number one sex position, red hot confessions. So Cosmo is actually quite a spicy magazine. It's quite heated. It's for people who are quite in touch with their own femininity. That says a lot about the reader of that magazine and actually what they expect from a business that they're going to work with as well. And also shaking that ass. It's about people who are feeling fit and sexual, actually, who are quite really confident, and best summer fashion for under £20. So it's actually, they speak to people by saying you can look like Rihanna basically for under 20 quid, So what does it mean if your client reads Cosmo or any magazines that they do read? It can boil down to the cost, the headlines that they use, the quality, what it says about them. People who read Vogue probably don't want to be associated with someone who reads a New Magazine. And we'll come on to the fundamentals of human behaviour later. What about where they eat? So what happens if you find out that they like Pizza Express? What is it about Pizza Express that they like? Is it the food that's on offer? Is it the fact that, you can go to any city pretty much in the UK and Ireland and you can get a Pizza Express and you know what you're getting, so it's safe? And maybe it's the offers that they do. They like to know about the offers. Maybe it's because Pizza Express keep in contact with them via email marketing, so they know what's happening. So have a think about why they eat in certain areas. Or maybe they would never eat in a chain restaurant. Maybe they like local restaurants. Maybe when they go to new towns or cities, they like to discover somewhere new. Maybe in their own town or city, they like to discover somewhere new. And what that says about them, they like to support local businesses. So maybe you want to convey that you are a local business as well. And much like their local restaurant, when they support you, they support local enterprise as well. If they shop at bigger chains, they're probably expecting a higher level of professionalism when it comes to your email marketing in terms of frequency and how it's presented, which is really easy to do through MailChimp. Where do they do their supermarket shopping? Do they alternate? I never do mine in the same place. I'm always moving around from shop to shop depending on the mood I'm in. If I'm in a mood where I want certain products, I'll go to Sainsbury's, and I prefer Sainsbury's fruit and veg. I really quite enjoy it, but sometimes it's more expensive. So when someone says they do their weekly shopping in Sainsbury's, what does it say to you about them? Is it that they like quality? Is it that budget isn't really an issue if they're doing their shopping there every week? Is it that it's just convenient because it's local to them? Is it because they earn enough money that they can shop there all of the time? And maybe they shop in Morrison's. Maybe they like walking down the market street. Maybe they like the fruit and veg. Let's have a think and chat to these people. And again, it's literally just getting out there, having conversations. And if you can just say something, just say, oh, and what's your nearest supermarket? And let them tell you. And they'll openly tell you that they alternate. Maybe it's a case that they're a working family, so they have to alternate between the child caring. You can see in that photograph there, dad's doing the business work tonight and mom is doing the baby work. Maybe they have to alternate back and forth. So maybe their time together is precious. Maybe as a family, they are constantly always on the go. So what does that mean? Does that mean you have to provide information quickly in a digestible way? Does it mean that if they leave the house and if they leave the working dad with the two kids for 2 hours, does it mean that they have to justify that, not just to themselves, but to their partner as well? So it really has to be worth their while leaving the house as well. So it's about, what does it mean when you're dealing with a working parent? What does it mean when you're dealing with a working family? And how do you use that information? Maybe they're a single person and they're working. So we can see that lady there, she's a single woman and she's at work. So what does it mean for her? if she's going to buy your products? What does it mean in terms of pressure? Because yeah, the pressure of being part of a working family is huge, but the pressure of being a single working person is huge as well, because you've got no one to fall back on. So if you're helping them grow their business, if you're helping them feel better about themselves, if you're asking them to take a chance on you, if you're asking them to buy their products, they're the only ones that can replace that income, you know? So what exactly does that mean, and how can you use that information? And I think that people have different demands, and I am only starting to see this now as I'm in the transition period, and none of the demands are easy, whether you're a working single person or whether you're a working parent. It's difficult for both, so you need to demonstrate an understanding for both of them. And then what does it mean when they like certain TV shows? So for me, I mention The Killing every single week because I love The Killing, the Danish TV show. You can see that there, Forbrydelsen, I can't pronounce it. So, you know, somebody who likes Nordic drama, somebody who likes something a bit more cultured, somebody who likes something with subtitles. It certainly doesn't mean that I'm more cultured in any way, shape or form. But maybe it means that when I sit down to watch a TV show, I don't have enough time. I'm very busy 7 days a week. So if I sit down to watch a TV show, I need to switch off. So if you're helping me switch off, you need to make sure you get all of my attention, be there through the products, your adverts, your emails, your training, whatever it is that you'd like to sell me. Maybe they like something a wee bit more lighthearted, like Orange is the New Black. Maybe they like something that's a bit more fun. It's supposed to be about a really deep subject, somebody going to prison, but it's not. It's quite fun. It's quite lighthearted. So maybe if they like Orange is the New Black, that you can take a serious topic and you can make it really fun and really lighthearted through your blogs, through your Facebook posts, etc. So I hope I've given you a good example as to kind of what information you need to find out. Again, it's all in your worksheet. And also when you find that information out, how are you going to use it? And essentially you're going to use it to connect with a client, you know, and you're going to use it to show that you understand them that wee bit more. And when you're wondering about it, just always ask yourself why. So if they say they like Orange is the New Black, just say, oh, what do you like about that? If they say that, you know, they are a working family, just say, oh, what does that mean for you? If they say that they're a single person or a person in a relationship working on their business, you know, or coming home from a job at night and working on the business, what does that mean for you? Maybe they work late hours and they need to relax. Oh, what do you enjoy doing to relax? You know, how much time do you have available? So you can find out. So how are you going to find all of this information? Because the first thing that happens is you're like, how on earth am I going to find out absolutely everything? And we don't want you to do a survey. A survey is not a good idea. And I'll tell you why. Because in order for surveys to be effective, you need a minimum of 250 people completing those surveys. And chances are you're not going to get that. Okay? And chances are they're probably going to lie to you. And if you have the time and the money to approach 250 of your ideal clients, I want their email addresses. I want them on your list. I want you taking care of them. We're just not in a position as solopreneurs to survey people as effectively as the bigger market research companies that do it. And actually, there's a much smarter way that we can do it as well. First of all, we want to enter conversations already taking place. Now, the best way to do this is to join all of the Facebook groups you can think of where your ideal client is there. Now, you are not joining these Facebook groups to try and sell to them and go, buy from me, I'm amazing, because that will just piss them off. And if you don't know that already, you'll find it out really, really quickly. But what you want to do is you want to be our Jessica Fletcher and you want to be our marketing detective. So if your target market is mums, think of every possible Facebook group where mums could be. So is it Mumsnet? Is it Local Gossip Girls? Is it Local Girl Cruise? Whatever local groups where they are. Maybe you want to use the search facility. So if you go into Facebook groups, you can click on Discover. And as you start to like more and more similar groups, Facebook will make suggestions to you. And then once you're on those groups, maybe you want to allow yourself 10 minutes a day to scroll through certain groups. Or maybe you want to use the search facility that's in every single Facebook group and you search a certain topic and you see if they've had that conversation in the past. Now, if you are an expert in your industry. Let's say you're an expert in reflexology or yoga or making cakes or massage. You don't really want to be seen to post a question, what kind of cakes do you like? What's your favorite massage? Because really, they'll expect you to know this, but you can search and just search cakes, massage, birthdays, whatever word that you want to search, and see what comes up and read through it and start jotting down notes. The best way is to get out and speak to them. And by speak, I mean listen. Go to some meetups where they're at, go to some coffee mornings where they're at, go to some networking events where they're at, go to whatever events, trade shows, etc., and just go over and talk to people. Do you know how few people do that? They just don't do it. They honestly just don't do it anymore. So many people think, I've got one chance to sell to this person. I'm going to tell them absolutely everything about me, and that's going to be fantastic. But what if your ideal client went to a networking event and 6 people did that? By the time they come to you, they just think you're amazing and they just want to chat to you. So maybe you're going to turn around and say, oh, is there any books you'd recommend? Now that's a question you can ask in a Facebook group. Going away this weekend, is there any books you'd recommend? And see, is there a common theme in the recommendations? Maybe you're going to ask people, oh, I'm thinking about heading out for some food after this networking event. Is there anywhere you'd recommend I go and eat? Maybe you're just going to try and find out and just see, oh, is there any magazines, any interesting articles that they'd recommend? Just get out and speak to people and let them talk. Genuinely ask questions, because the more that you find out about this person, the more success that you're going to have in your business. What do they look for in a skincare product? What are they using and why do they use it? I had someone try to sell me skincare products once, and I'll never forget it. It was awful. We went for coffee and she asked me what skincare products I had, and I had these Elizabeth Arden because we got vouchers for our engagement and I used them all to buy makeup. And the lady was like, oh, you don't want to use that? She goes, ours are way better. And I was like, oh, okay. Whereas if she'd actually used that conversation, not to sell, but to get to know me, she could have turned around and said, oh, and why were you drawn to Elizabeth Arden? And I would have told her the truth. Oh, I got some vouchers. I'm not particularly loyal to any skincare brand. I am now, her brand, but I never bought it off her and never will. But maybe she could have said, what attracted you? Not loyal, but actually we got some vouchers, so I use it. So vouchers are something that's never repeated again. I'm clearly not loyal to a skincare brand. Had she listened to me, had she made me feel special, had she shown some empathy, she would have discovered that in 2 months' time, I will be without a skincare brand, without vouchers, and actually in a perfect position to buy from her. So when I say get out and speak to them, I mean you have to listen. And you just have to let them talk, absolutely, as long as possible. And it might seem like a trivial thing, but if they're telling you about the pressures of job, the pressures of home, the pressures of family, the pressures of friends, all of this is so invaluable so that you can connect with them. And you're not going to manipulate the information, but you are going to use it to show that you genuinely understand where they're coming from. And maybe there's some Amazon reviews on any books. So, yoga instructors, reflexology, cake making, massage training. So maybe you want to look for the number 1 best-selling books in these areas and go down and read the reviews and see what they say. So if it's a yoga book, what do they like most about the yoga book? If it's a yoga book written by someone that you really aspire to be like in your industry, go down and read the reviews, and start getting out and start going to these meetups and start getting out. And if you can't, we already know this week from the amazing examples that we've had is that you can go out and create your own meetup. You can go out and create your own networking events. I'd always say if it's not there and you can do it, create your own. Yeah, create your own meetup, create your own Facebook groups and use it for market research and just to find out as much as possible about how you can help people. So there's some amazing examples about how you can find this information. So you can either enter the conversations already taking place. So they're already having these conversations on social media. They're already having these conversations in forums. You just need to use the search facility. Get out and speak to them. And by speak, I mean listen. Your Amazon reviews, find books, find courses, find anything on Amazon. If it's products, find similar products and read the product reviews on them. And then meetups, events, trade shows, Facebook groups. If they're not there, create your own and find out as much as you possibly can. So once we have all of this information and we know what information that we want, we're going to create an ideal client profile. So basically what this means is we're going to create a profile of one person that you will communicate going forward. So rather than think I'm going to speak to 100 people, because when you speak to 100 people, you use they an awful lot and you're very broad and you're not that specific and you don't relate to their pain points or their problems. It's not a criticism, it's just the way that we are. So we want to list that one person and we want to list specific and general traits. So the specific traits could be her name is Anne, his name is John. They did or did not go to uni, and you'd list the uni and you'd list the course, and then some general traits like what they enjoy doing, how kind they are, certain level of education, certain level of income, and you want to keep this ideal client profile up to date, and you've got one in your worksheet. Don't make this up, speak to them and use a common theme. My ideal client profile is actually the most common name I've come across when dealing with sales and business coach clients, and I speak to that person all of the time. So you might from this day forward only speak to Lauren or only speak to Fiona. And everything you do is to Fiona. So when you write a Facebook post, you're not writing it to your 500, 1,000 followers, you're writing it to Fiona. When you write an email, you're writing it to Fiona, and you use you an awful lot because you know Fiona inside out and you're going to find out more information about her. So our top tips when it comes to determining who your ideal client is consider a day in the life. What is an average day like for your ideal client? Again, if you're listening to them, they will tell you, they mightn't tell you straight away, but you might see on Facebook, they might give you examples and give you snippets. Consider the before, during and after of what they use. For product-based businesses, maybe before an event. So for example, what's a day in the life like before they use your yoga services? What's a day in the life like before they use your coaching services, before they become a part of your network marketing team and they're stressed out going to a job they don't like? What's a day like before? As they make the transition, what's it like? What's it like when they start getting your coaching? What's it like when they start with your yoga? What's it like when they start with your decluttering services and all of a sudden their house feels absolutely fantastic? And what's it like after? And if you can get that before, during and after, and you know that it's real and you can temp check it maybe with some previous clients or some clients that you're working with right now, that's absolutely fantastic. And consider the pain they feel and the pain they feel before they use you. Like pleasure is amazing. And I'm a massive fan of selling based on pleasure. I'm a massive fan of selling based on the pleasure they're going to receive. However, 9 times out of 10, the decision is made based on pain. They cannot suffer any more of what they're suffering right now. Okay, so step number two is we're going to move on to the fundamentals of human behavior. Now we're going to briefly go through this because we do have the full 1 week's worth of Facebook training. So once you know as much about your ideal client, it's worth considering how people naturally behave. So every ideal client is different and the ideal client for every business is different. However, once they're put in certain situations, they're going to behave in a similar way. And this is how we compel them to buy and how we motivate them to buy. So a recap of the 10 fundamentals. Number 1, people are naturally lazy and won't make a decision until you force them to. So even when you know all about them, even when you know the TV shows, what they like, what they're looking for, why you're so amazing for them, you'll still have to give them a deadline. And you'll still have to give them a date of no return at which they need to purchase what's on offer. And it's like we discussed in the Facebook training, if what you offer is available all year round at the same price, there's no reason why they need to buy now. Number 2, people want what other people have. So basically they want the results that other people have. So start obtaining your testimonials. Start getting your testimonials right now and clearly demonstrate the results because that's what people are looking for. People are driven by status and actually how they want to be perceived by their peers, So for example, I would never tell anyone that I ate a burger in McDonald's. I'm never going to eat meat again. So if somebody thought I did, I would be so upset. I would never tell anyone that I watched Coronation Street because it's just not for me. The status of saying I like Nordic dramas, it makes me sound swankier than I am. because I'm not that swanky, but it is a status that people are going for. So what status is important, and how can your products or services demonstrate that they're going to achieve that through their peers? And this is where finding out where they shop is really important. This is where finding out what kind of magazines they read and where they eat. So if you're passionate about supporting local business, you want your peers to know that you support local businesses, not some massive conglomerate. People want to be led. So it's basically you lead them through how you're an expert. You lead them through your authority in what you're talking about, and you guide them through the next process. People don't like uncertainty. No. You have to tell them exactly what you are doing next. You do not leave anything to doubt. If they come on your website, what's the one step you want them to take? If they land on your Facebook, what's the one step you want them to take? At the bottom of every email newsletter, and we'll cover all of these examples next week, but what's the one step that you want them to take? I was helping a client earlier and they showed me a website, and it had 17 possibilities for a client when it landed on the website, just on the homepage. 17? No, we want one. Land on your website, what do I do first? And that's why people like pop-ups so much, although pop-ups are dying down when it comes to websites. When you have a pop-up that says download it here, we don't like uncertainty, so we need to tell people exactly what's happening next, and you need to know the process, and you need to take them through that so that the path of least resistance is to follow you through. People are naturally selfish and they'll do what's in their best interests. No, absolutely perfect. That is so true. Blair and I were going out last night for my birthday meal, and I was like, I would really love it if you didn't drink, because it's really difficult. I've not drank now since last November. It's a really long night when other people are drinking. So for my birthday weekend, could you not drink? I was being naturally selfish because I didn't want to be the only sober one. But the entire meal, he's like, do you not want me to order a wine? Are you sure? Have it as you will. I won't order a wine. And then when we got home, we were driving down the road and he's like, do you not want to go into the shops and get yourself a dessert? And I was like, no. Are you sure? And every shop we went past, do you not want anything in the shop? Because he wanted to go in and get a cider for sitting in on our Saturday night. And I think it's important that people aren't doing anything wrong. They're just doing what's in their own best interests. So we have to demonstrate that it's in their best interests to buy from you. What Blair didn't know was that I did have a gluten-free, dairy-free chocolate dessert in the fridge that I ate when I got home. So I'd already looked after my best interests. If I didn't have that, I probably would have stopped in the shops, but I wasn't telling them. People don't like to be wrong. So even when there's massive evidence showing that they're wrong, don't tell them. No one wants to be wrong. No one wants to be told that ex-boyfriend was a complete and utter dick. No one wants to be told the food they're eating isn't good for them. What they do want to show is that you understand why they're making those wrong choices, and you understand how to make the transition into the good choices and how you can demonstrate that. People buy based on emotion and justify with logic. So you will make an emotional decision. It'll be based on how you feel, that pain that we've spoken about, the pleasure. And then you will talk you through absolutely everything in your head as to why you definitely need to buy that. People care what other people think. So people do care what other people think. We're only human, and actually women probably care more, and I think it's mainly because we are relationship builders and our lives are dependent on the strength of the relationships that we build. It's something that we really care about. So as a result, we care what other people think. So how can you show people that by buying your product or service, other people are going to think they're amazing? It's like the sign that we show that, voted the best fish and chips by some guy who likes fish and chips, So how can you show them how amazing you are? And most people are bored and want to be entertained. Life is boring right now. We're constantly on the go. And if people weren't bored, they wouldn't be on their phones all the time. They wouldn't be constantly plugged in, but people are bored. And I'm not excusing it because I think people are wired to the moon right now. But how can you entertain them? How can you be really funny? How can you build a little bit of what you do into what's on offer, and how can you make them feel better? So there's a brief run through of the 10 fundamentals of human behavior. And I think it's about knowing your client really, really well, understanding so much about them, and we'll fill in our ideal client profile, a recap of the 10 fundamentals and how you can do this. And we don't have to decide on one right now, but you can just fill in some examples for every different section in our worksheet. And before we move on to number 3, which is market sophistication. And market sophistication, I'm going to share a really in-depth video with you that's part of your training. And basically, I want you to watch that. And basically, what market sophistication is, it's the mood of the market based on what you sell. And it will determine how you promote what you offer and what you highlight to your clients. So dependent on how well they know what you sell, depends on what you need to tell them. So how do people really feel about what you sell? Have you ever considered that? And it's really important for existing businesses. It's really important for new businesses and businesses that have maybe had a bad reputation in the past, such as some network marketing businesses that are turning a corner. You have to think, is this all new or have they heard it all before? And the market sophistication is basically a spectrum between 1 and 5, and it moves from excited to skeptical. So 1 being the new items where they're really, really excited about and you have to educate people as much as possible. And number 5 means they're probably a wee bit skeptical about it. They've heard lots about it. So the onus is on you to provide some more information. So here I'm going to give you some examples of market sophistication. So first and foremost, if we look, the top row are the kind of older things. So they're probably closer to, 3, 4, or 5 on the spectrum, in that they're industries that have been around for a while now. Most customers will have come across them. So if you're selling any of these products, you've probably got to educate them on the features, what makes you different, lots and lots of ways about why you stand out. And on the bottom row, it's newer industries. So newer industries where, if you're coming with these new industries right now, they're at the earlier stages of market sophistication. So your job is to educate people on what it is that they do. You don't have to go into too many features or benefits, or you don't have to stack things up and create like really detailed packages, because right now your job is to educate them on what it is in the first place so they can buy. So if we look at the top left-hand side there, it's a Thai restaurant. And I use this as an example because Blair and I went for Thai food yesterday. And I love Thai food because I absolutely love tofu. But I also had Thai food last weekend. And when I'm choosing a restaurant, we nearly always choose Thai food because I love coconut rice and I love tofu and I love Thai red curry. And I love making sure I can get really, really nice food. But when we're choosing a Thai restaurant, we're really, really fussy because we've been to so many. So it has to have the certain type of tofu that I like. So I like crispy tofu and I like it cooked in a certain way. It cannot be too hot. It has to have the meat dishes that Blair would eat. So it cannot have too many dishes with coriander because he hates coriander. So we're really, really fussy when it comes to choosing Thai food. So we'll look at the menu, we'll look at the location, we'll see if we like the menu. Blair will check out the reviews. So if you are a Thai restaurant, especially in the UK and Ireland, there's so many Thai restaurants out there right now, unless you're in a small town, that you have to promote what makes you different to every other single Thai restaurant. In addition to what makes you want to choose Thai in the first place. So that's a tough job. The place that we chose yesterday, we chose for the first time. It was absolutely lovely and the food was gorgeous, and we've both decided we would go back there. But there's been quite a few places where we've decided against. So Thai restaurants, you have to stand out from the crowd, you have to educate people, and you have to show why you're different. And then we were walking down to get the car while I was listening to Blair talk about how he wanted to get a cider for about 20 minutes. And we passed by a Hungarian restaurant. This isn't a photo of the Hungarian restaurant, it's just one I found online. But it was a Hungarian restaurant just at Hillside in Edinburgh. And as we're walking by, Blair was like, "Ooh, what's this there?" And I was like, "Oh, Hungarian food." Now, we've never really heard of, well, we've heard of Hungarian food, but we've never heard of a Hungarian restaurant in Edinburgh before. So I was like, "Oh, I wonder what's on the menu there." So we took a look at the menu. And I don't need to look at the menu of a Thai place because I recognize everything. I know what they've got. And when I do look at the menu, it's to make sure they have what I want. But when I was looking at the menu of this Hungarian place, it's not to see if they have what I want, it's to see what do they have. So it's all new to me. I'm not really sophisticated in it. It's very, very early days. So all they have to do is convince me to come in the door. They don't have to convince me that their dishes are better than every other Hungarian restaurant in the city, because it's fuck all. They just have to try and get me through the door. So, where are you in your business? Are you the Thai restaurant where you have to show that you stand out from all the other Thai restaurants? Are you the new Hungarian restaurant whereby you just have to get people in the door, so it's about educating them? There's no right or wrong in this. Everyone will move through the process as people become more aware of what you offer, but it's literally just so that you can understand. The next example that I have is of step aerobics versus an aerial yoga class. So if you say to somebody, oh, I run a step aerobics class, everyone's heard of step aerobics. They know what's on offer. It's been on offer since the 80s, so it's been on the go for quite some time. So what am I getting at this step aerobics class? Why is it different? Is it a certain type of step aerobics? Is it a really, really fantastic instructor? Have they trained with the best in the industry? Am I guaranteed to lose weight at it? What makes this step aerobics class better than every other step aerobics class that I've been through? Because chances are I already know what to expect, and I'm either sold on it or I'm not. So if you're trying to get new clients into a step aerobics class, you have to tell them all of the different reasons why you're better. Like your Thai restaurant, the type of instructor, the type of system, is the certain type of dance moves that you use, is it the time of day that the classes are on, is it who you're appealing to, is it the weight loss program that everyone takes part in, is it the camaraderie? What is it that makes yours different? However, if I saw an advert for aerial yoga in Edinburgh, you don't need to tell me anything else. I don't need to know anything else other than it's aerial yoga. Because I saw that on a thing in America and I thought, oh my God, that looks so cool. So it's new, it's fresh, but you just need to educate people on the fact that it's aerial yoga. Until more and more people start to go to these classes, more and more of them crop up and the mood of the market changes. But for now, it's between the old faithful and the new one. Another example is life coaching. If you're offering bog standard life coaching services, and I say bog standard because I would strongly recommend that you are a niche life coach, or maybe you are a feng shui expert or you're a decluttering expert. So for most people, they're aware of what life coaching is. Now, they've probably come across some proper charlatans and they don't really understand it, and they've probably had really, really bad experiences. But for or maybe good experiences, finger crossed, it's not regulated the industry just yet. But lots of people call themselves coaches when they're not quite coaches, Lots of people who sell weight loss products call themselves health coaches. And for those of us who've trained and spent a considerable amount of time and money and effort on training, that can be a bit of a kick in the teeth. So my job as a life coach is to explain what makes me different. Well, what makes me different is I'm a business coach and I can help you develop a business that works for you with life coach training, and the background of my business development career as well. So I really have to pinpoint what makes me different. I work with a lot of life coaches, and we've got coaches who are specific mindset coaches, absolutely fantastic mindset coaches in our group. So you've really got to delve deep again on what makes you different. However, if you are a feng shui expert or a decluttering expert, can you tell I took this photo offline? All you have to do really is explain what feng shui is all about or why decluttering works. You don't have to get into too much detail about the background, about why you're better, all of these things, because right now they just need educating on what feng shui is. Does that make sense? So here are the examples of market sophistication. So it's about the mood of the market, how well customers are aware of what you offer and what their previous experience has been. And one caveat I put in there is for network marketing. It's a wee bit of a tricky one. And I think part of the reason is for so long, network marketers were thought the old way of doing business, and it was a wee bit icky and it was a wee bit unfair. And don't get me wrong, it worked so well for some, but everyone you meet will have been approached by someone at some stage with a network marketing message. So it's really, really important for you to be aware of this and show that you stand out from the crowd. So I have an accompanying video with this. It gives considerably better examples than what I've given, and you're going to watch that and you're going to come back to me with any questions. So in summary, you must have an ideal client, and there are 3 steps to finding out about them. Demographics and psychographics, then the 10 fundamentals of human behavior, and then your market sophistication and where we're at in the market. So, dun dun dun, what do you need to do now? Right now, and this week's work is I need you to complete your ideal client profile. I need you to know the 10 fundamentals of human behavior and how these fit into your business. Just jot down some notes, jot down some ideas, become a marketing detective, and determine where your business sits in market sophistication. Okay, until next time, I'll chat soon. Bye just now.